time together through our breath. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale into your heart. Feel your heartbeat. Feel your heartbeat and imagine that you can bring in the light and the love of the source of our very creator. Bring it into your crown chakra. Let it settle into your heart. And then extend it out. Extend it out as a prayer for humanity. As a prayer for your loved ones. As a prayer for your not loved ones. As a prayer for yourself. Prayers of forgiveness. Prayers of compassion. Feeling your heartbeat. In a time and in a place in history where we hear so many things that feel like it's a disheartening of our hearts. We remember the importance of us, each one of us, standing strong in the light, to be the light, to extend the light, to receive the light, to be the light, wherever we are. And even in our own moments of darkness, to remember that the light is there, that we can reopen our eyes and reopen our hearts and step into the light. And that's why we need one another, because as we all extend the light, when the time comes that we need that light, we can step into the light that has been extended by our brothers and sisters on this path. And so we give thanks for this opportunity to remember who we are, to remember that we are in community with mighty companions and kindred spirits who are dedicated to raising the vibration, praying harder, rising higher, loving steadily and forgiving readily. As we ask to be led on this path, as we ask for gentle corrections when we fall off the path, we ask for forgiveness of ourselves and others, and we extend forgiveness to ourselves and to others. We begin this time together with gratitude, in gratitude, and in knowing that we are here to be united in peace and in prayer and in dedication. We give thanks. We give thanks. I give thanks. So grateful to be here with all of you. It's been a couple of weeks since I actually was able to stand here and speak with you and hopefully spend an hour with you. We'll see. We're just going to go breath by breath, moment by moment. Last week I put out a little mini pre-recorded message, and I appreciate all of you who responded to that and who have been checking on me. It's been amazing how many truly caring, loving friends I've had who've made sure that I ate and slept and recovered and survived. So thank you. Thanks to all of you. We've been working in and out and sort of peeking in at the manual for teachers, but this week, so many of the lessons that came up this week were really, I thought it worth spending some time on, and I ended up getting drawn to lesson 134, so we're going to spend time on that today. 134. This is a forgiveness lesson. Now, throughout the text and throughout the lesson, we are continuously reminded of the importance of forgiveness. The central theme of A Course in Miracles is to undo the blocks that we have created to love, the blocks that we have created to being able to see truly with loving eyes, with the vision that would allow us to see our brothers and sisters as the true, perfect, beloved children of God that they are. And we come back to the idea that as long as we're doing that, we're on the right track. And if we forget, we have that spiritual amnesia, or we go astray too far into condemning or judging, the Course says, oh, wait a minute, there's a tool for that. There's a tool for getting to where you want to go. And that tool is forgiveness. The tool in our toolbox, I made it like I had a tool belt on. The tool that we can continuously come back to use is forgiveness. And so that's one of the lessons that we're coming up upon this week, so we're going to focus on that. I sometimes think of forgiveness as being the Mr. Clean magic eraser equivalent of our spiritual work. You know, that thing is amazing. I don't know what's in it. I don't know if anybody's ever researched it, but you know, if you have crayon, you know what's in it. If ever you see something on the wall, you just take that thing and suddenly it cleans it. You know, and it's, you know, it's the same thing with us. We have this this vision of a board with people's mistakes and sins and our condemnations written upon it. And the magic eraser that we have to use is forgiveness. That's what we have to keep coming back to. And we have to do it for ourselves as much as we have to do it for others. Because in order for us to truly do the dismantling of our egos, the dismantling of our judgments and our upsets, we have to come back to the tools that allow us to get there. Because you can't just say, well, just forgive, just see, just change your vision. It doesn't work that way. It works through dedication and willingness and remembering of what it is that you have at your disposal. So I'll give you an example of how I completely went off track today. In my confession, in the confessional of my community. So I had a conversation with someone that I hadn't spoken to in a while, and the conversation was meant to be one of those resolution, let's have peace type of things, because there were some misunderstandings. So while the conversation was taking place, instead of staying in my higher holy self, I started getting triggered into other thoughts that were based in doubt and maybe fear. I can't really identify all the emotions that were coming up for me, but I do know that instead of being, you know, a truly focused brother or sister to this person from the spiritual kinship and wanting to reach this place of peace, I was like internally turning into like Johnny Depp's attorney, you know, like in my head I was like, I object, like in my head, you know. I wasn't saying it out loud, I wasn't contradicting out loud, but I found that when I hung up, I wasn't feeling very loving, I wasn't feeling very peaceful, and I wasn't in that place of my intention in having that conversation. So I had to forgive myself, because then I was upset with myself. I was more upset with myself than I was with that person, because it was really about me taking a look at what I was doing inside my head. Like, why am I like this is not the defamation trial of Amber Heard, you know? This is just two people trying to have a conversation to resolve a miscommunication. It's so simple. So, don't you know, I started looking at what we're going to be talking about and looking at today, and I come across lesson 134, let me perceive forgiveness as it is. So I was like, well, no coincidence. That may be what I need to talk about today. So hopefully you'll get something out of it as well. Last week when I did my little mini recording, I was speaking about the importance of us knowing that no matter where we are, no matter what we're doing, that we can have these divine spiritual connections and experiences with people. And I told the story of the garbage man who became such a helper to me that day, and he was so kind and so loving and blessed me. And sure enough, I come across this other story about a bus driver. And I thought, you know, this is a reminder to us of how important it is for us to see, to really use this, the capacity we have within ourselves to see the beloved in one another. So this was a story I came across that was written by Elizabeth Gilbert. A lot of you know her as the Eat, Pray, Love author. So she was telling the story about being in a crowded New York City bus. And they were stuck in traffic, they were barely moving, people were irritated, There were people who were starting to argue amongst each other, you know, shoving or whatever, and there was a pregnant woman on, and nobody gave her a seat, and people were, you know, making fun of each other and judging each other, and it just got ugly. So the bus driver stops the bus at 7th Avenue, and he gets on the intercom, and he says, "Folks, can I have your attention? I know you've had a really rough day and you're all frustrated. I can't do anything about the weather or the traffic, but this is what I can do. As each one of you gets off the bus, I'm going to reach out my hand to you, and as you walk by, drop your troubles in the palm of my hand. Don't take your problems home to your families. Just leave them with me. And when my route gets out to the Hudson River, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to throw out all your troubles out the window." So, you know, there was a couple of people who were, you know, laughing, other people who just, you know, thought he was silly. But sure enough, every time he would come to a stop, when people would go by, he was like, "Give me your troubles, give me your troubles." And little by little, everybody was like putting their troubles in his hand. Everybody's like, "Okay, here you go." And like the mood lifted, everybody got kind of like lighter of spirit. For a simple recognition of your troubles, for a simple recognition of your humanity, and my understanding, his understanding, that all you need is a little compassion. All you need is to have this remembering that, you know what, I don't have to make this worse, and a little simple act of kindness to make it better. So then she says, sometimes you can have a really bad day or really bad years. You struggle and fail. You may lose your job, money, friends, and lose your faith. You witness horrible events. You become fearful and withdrawn. There are times when everything seems cloaked in darkness. You long for the light, but you don't know where to find it. So then the thing is to be the light. The act of compassion towards yourself and to humanity is to be the light. I don't see the light. Maybe I can be the light. And when I can be the light, then I can be the reflection through which you can find the light and be the light as well. She says, no matter who you are, where you are, how mundane or tough your situation, you can illuminate the world. This is the only way the world will ever be illuminated. One bright act of grace at a time, all the way to the Hudson River. All the way to wherever you are, wherever we are. We just have that remembering that instead of getting into an unpleasant mindset on a conversation, you can say, wait a minute, Lori, this is your opportunity to think in terms of illuminating your mind and just seeing this other person as a reflection of yourself. And as long as we can do that, as long as we can bring that reflection of light and love to another person and start seeing that as a mutual reflection one to the other, then we can find a place of peace that we didn't think was possible before, because before we wanted someone to attend to our ego needs. It was about listen to what I say and how I want you to hear what I say. Not how you interpreted it, but how I wanted you to hear it. That's not the way it works. How it works is that regardless of what you say, regardless of what you hear, I am going to see you as beloved. I am going to see you as a bright light that I can step into, and we can be that reflection of light to one another. So, lesson 134. It says, let me perceive forgiveness as it is. It begins by saying, let us review the meaning of forgiveness, for it is apt to be distorted and to be perceived as something that entails an unfelt sacrifice of righteous wrath, and a gift, unjustified and undeserved, and a complete denial of truth. So the average, everyday concept of forgiveness is, you've done wrong, I've stood in judgment of you, and now I'm going to be so high and mighty to decide that, yeah, you can be forgiven. That's not what the Course is saying. The Course is saying that that is a misconception of what forgiveness is. It says this is a twisted view of forgiveness, and it's easily corrected when you can accept the fact that pardon is not what is asked for. What is being asked for is an illumination within ourselves of the understanding of what is actually going on within ourselves. Because I wouldn't have to forgive you for anything if I hadn't judged you as wrong to begin with. So the reflection is always going to begin with an inner observation, an inner inquiry, an inner knowing of my own self. Because you know what? If there's something that bothers me about you, it's got to be because I have a trigger installed in me that I have not yet resolved or healed, or even maybe not even looked at. And then there's other people who might say, well, I don't even see why that bothered you. If I gave you a play-by-play repeat of the 12-year-old conversation, 12-year-old childlike conversation that I had earlier, you'd be like, Laurie, grow up, right? Because sometimes we have to remember that we are coming from a childlike mentality, that we're thinking like a child who has to have their needs met. And the Course tells us that's like playing with broken toys. That when we're in our, what we consider our righteous indignation, and we're in our upset and we have to be heard, it's like playing with broken toys. Because all we're doing is hurting ourselves. All we're doing is bringing the pain back onto ourselves. Because I'm the one who carried the guilt for having my lawyer mind, my objections and my judgments and my upset in my head. Nobody else has to suffer my inner madness but me. So how do I change that? By recognizing, looking at it, and maybe the next time make the correction a little bit earlier. Right? Stop the mind from wandering. This is the only kingdom we must rule. It says it right here. There's a kingdom I must rule. What is it? It's our mind. Because I can't change I can't rule anything else. Even if you elected me to a higher office, there's nothing that I can rule other than my own mind. That's the only thing that I can step into, take a look at, and decide how am I going to interact with you based on what's going on in my mind. Comments? Tanzua is on, she's monitoring. Let's see, where are we? Let's go to paragraph 3. The major difficulty that you find in genuine forgiveness on your part is that you still believe you must forgive the truth and not the illusion. So you believe that there's something that you want to hold on to. The illusion is the creation of your concept. That's what needs forgiving. But a lot of times we think, nope, I need to forgive that outer cause and effect, which is the cause, which is the effect. We have to decide. If I continuously look on outside, I'm not going to ever be able to forgive the illusion that I created based on what I've decided to look on and to see and to judge. Let's go to paragraph 5. It says, pardon is no escape. It merely is a further sign that sin in your mind, you believe sin is unforgivable, and at best to be concealed, denied, or called another name, for pardon is treachery. Guilt cannot be forgiven. It comes back. See, the Course keeps coming back to this. The Course continuously comes back to the fact that we have some sort of guilt that we react from. So we're reacting to the world, but we're reacting from this place of guilt. Because if I'm in complete peace, and I see you do something that in the past may have insulted me or upset me, if I'm in complete peace, then I'm not going to create a story about it. I'm just going to continue being at peace. There was I think it was the first Bush, George Sr. There was a story about him going to an event, and I don't know if he passed out or something. He got sick, and people were saying like, "Oh my God, that must have been so embarrassing." And he was like, "I wasn't embarrassed." Like he did not think poorly of himself because he passed out at the event. And there's other people who would be like, oh my God, this was such an important place to be, and it's an important place to think, important way to be. And we would maybe play that over and over in our minds, like, oh, I should have drank my water, I should have gotten cooler, I should not, and feeling bad about ourselves. So he was just like, nah, I'm fine with it. And that was like a long time ago when he was president, but it impressed on me how important our own self-concept is. How important it is for us to feel confident and strong and at peace with who we are. Because if we feel confident, strong, and at peace with who we are, then those other circumstances, it's just a thing that happened. Oh, he got overheated and he passed out. It's just a thing that happened. This interaction between us, it's just a thing that happened. It's just words. It's just symbols of your idea of life and my idea of life. And we're throwing these symbols back and forth at each other. And it's all part of the illusion that keeps us from truly being peaceful, loving, compassionate, and seeing each other through eyes of love. And so the reminder, the Course is constantly reminding us that you have this tool. And this tool is called forgiveness. But who are you forgiving and what are you forgiving? It wants us to look inwardly and to recognize that we need to start with forgiveness of ourselves. Because you're complete and total compassion for yourself and have forgiveness with yourself, then you have nothing to defend. You don't have to go out insisting that anyone think the way you think, because you're at peace with how you think and how you feel. So let's go to 7. Forgiveness is the only thing that stands for truth in the illusions of the world. It sees their nothingness and looks straight through the 1,000 forms in which they may appear. It looks on lies but is not deceived. It does not heed the self-accusing shrieks. It looks on everything with quiet eyes and merely says, "My brother, what you think is not the truth." So let me just differentiate for a minute here around the forgiveness of illusions and the importance of having discernment. Because this is not saying let people hurt you. It's not saying, throw yourself on the street and let people stomp on you. That's not what it's saying. It's saying just recognize what's going on within yourself. Just look at it. Pay attention to it. Be cognizant and aware. Have a hypervigilance to your own self, to your own mind and where it's going. If you need to step out of something, then step out of it. But you don't have to convince anyone of how wrong they are. You just have to convince yourself of how loving you're willing to be. How loving you're willing to be, how compassionate you're willing to be, how understanding of your own self and your own process, and how understanding you can be of the process of anyone else. To be a reflection of that opportunity to rise higher, pray harder. So let's do a little exercise around this, and we'll just do that in a minute. We're going to try. We'll see how it feels to do some forgiveness work. But let's go to 11 first. It says, it's talking about this bridge between illusion and reality, right? Sort of like manifest reality and ultimate truth. Across a bridge as powerful as love, a power of love is laid in its blessing. All dreams of hatred and attack are brought silently to truth. They are not kept to swell and bluster and to terrify the foolish dreamer. Who's the foolish dreamer? We are. We're the foolish dreamers. We are being gently awakened from the dream by understanding that what we thought we saw was never there. Gently awakening, gently awakening. That's what we want to do. We want to gently awaken from this nightmare. We can call it a dream, but if we're truly dedicated to being upset and being judgmental and being angry, then it's a nightmare. That's not a dream. But we can gently awaken. We can gently stretch outside our comfort zone. Speak with compassion. Speak with kindness. Speak with the willingness to listen, to deeply, truly listen with your heart. And if you don't agree, if your mind starts going into objection, find a way to soften it so that your heart is filled with the light and the love that was the original intention of connecting with a loved one in the first place. And that loved one is anyone you come in contact with. That's any brother or sister, not even someone personal sometimes. Sometimes it's just a stranger. Sometimes it's the person in the grocery store who's trying to get in front of you while you're in line. It could be any circumstance, any situation that you have the opportunity to come back to a place of forgiveness of your own self for getting angry at that situation. Imagine just always being at peace. Just imagine if you could just be at peace no matter what is going on around you. Your life will be better. It's not even a matter of whether or not anyone agrees with you or sees how you see. But if you can be at complete and total peace. It's a goal. It's on my bucket list. 13. Forgiveness must be practiced. It's not, I'm not telling you this and suddenly you're going to be like, oh, I forgive everything, and then you feel completely at peace, because we're working toward that. We're working on that. We're stretching past our comfort zones. We're moving into the warrior pose. If you have locked up muscles or joints and you go into yoga class, you might not be able to get into the position you want to get into. It takes some time, but if after a while, after a few weeks, you're deeply moving into the warrior pose and you think, hey, I'm a warrior. I am a warrior. We can be spiritual warriors. We can be like, yes, I'm a hero. I am moving forward in allowing myself to completely, totally, and always be in the memory and the realization of what it means to be at peace and to extend that peace. So practice, that's what we're doing, we're practicing. Forgiveness must be practiced, for the world cannot perceive its meaning nor provide a guide to teach you its beneficence. There is no thought in all this world that leads to any understanding of all the laws it follows, nor the thought that it reflects. It is an alien to the world, and yet it joins your mind. It joins your mind. So today we practice true forgiveness, that the time of joining not be delayed, for we would meet with our reality in freedom and in peace. Our practicing becomes the footsteps lightening up all the way for our brothers who will follow us to the reality we share with them. Don't they have those little kid sneakers where like when they walk they light up? Like little sneakers with little things on them? Imagine if we had that. Like not sneakers, but like our actual self. That if we, every time we felt truly at peace and centered and loving, and every time we take a step, it's like loving light. Oh, look at that! I'm just stepping and I'm extending light, and the light is being sent out into the world, and it's coming further and further into me and out to you. We are lighting the world. We are lighting the way when we truly feel peaceful enough to practice forgiveness of ourselves and of others. So that's true forgiveness, to light the world. Okay, so think about somebody. It's so funny the way you just look at me. Just think about somebody. Just bring somebody to mind. If you got more than one, try to just, let the crowd disperse. Bring that one person to mind. Bring that one person to mind that you've been like the Johnny Depp attorney. I object to you, I object to your thoughts, I object to your way of being. Think of that one person. Bring that person to mind. I have my person. You'll have your person. Usually the course is, I know you've already thought of that person, because we know who it is, right? We know. Even if it's you. Even if it's you yourself, if you feel like you need to forgive yourself, then bring your own vision. May it go as if you had stood in front of the mirror. Who do you need to forgive? Choose one person, let them cross your mind. And go ahead and spend a few seconds enumerating all the things you think they did wrong. Now I'm mad at this person because of this, and this, and I feel so justified in it because, oh, it was so bad. And I don't deserve that. Oh, it should have been different. Just let yourself have that for, 10 seconds. I'll keep count. Now imagine that you can offer this person light from your heart. Even if you feel resistant, just imagine that your hand is on your heart, you have this person in your mind, and you're going to take this light from your heart and you're going to extend it out. You're going to allow yourself to imagine that you're saying, I will not use these mistakes to condemn you because I will be condemning myself. And I will not use the past that we shared as the light that I'm going to illuminate to focus on everything you've done wrong. Instead, I'm going to use that light to move into a path that we can walk on together in forgiveness, in mutual love and forgiveness, in mutual peace, in mutual understanding. I will not use you to condemn myself, because when I accuse you, I condemn myself. So imagine that you're having this conversation and you're allowing this light and this love from your heart to extend to this other person. Even if you're not really buying it just yet, just let yourself have the practice. That's all it is. It's practice. And don't remember, it's like that yoga pose. You can't get into that yoga pose right away. Oh, my hips hurt, my legs hurt. You're practicing. So you're practicing through the love and the light that you believe in and that you know is in your heart, and you're practicing extending it to the vision that you have of this person that you have condemned and judged. Just allow yourself to have that conversation. To say, may you be well, may you be at peace, may I be well, may I be at peace, may you be well, may you be at peace. I no longer see you as someone needing to be condemned. I see you as the brother and the sister that I will walk into peace with, into light. And even if you never see that person again, if it's never about a physical reality for you, as long as it is in your spiritual reality, your spiritual dedication, your spiritual willingness, and just let that vision be flooded with light. And so that the image of that person is not even so much about the details of them. It's not about their eyes and their nose and their hair. And now it's just about the light that is covering them. The light that is being extended from you to them and back to you. And if you have any doubt, there's a part of you that's saying that'll never happen. Come back to the practice. Come back to the yoga stretch. That's what this is. Just practice. And so for the next few days, when that person comes into your mind, you can say, oh, I don't want to condemn you, because if I condemn you, I condemn myself. I will not use you. I will not use you to be in a state of condemnation. And you breathe love and light into the image. And you find that place of peace, even if it's just a glimpse, even if it's just a moment. Let that person be free from all the thoughts you had of their sins. And now you've prepared yourself for freedom. In doing that, you've prepared yourself for freedom. If you practice this in willingness and in honesty, you will begin to sense a lifting up, a lightening of weight across your chest, a deep and certain feeling of relief. The time remaining should be given to experiencing the escape from all the heavy change you sought to experience while holding that other person in condemnation. The heavy change that you sought to lay upon your brother, but you were actually laying upon yourself. Forgiveness should be practiced all day, throughout the day. There will be many times when you forget its meaning and attack yourself. When this occurs, allow your mind to see through the illusion and say, let me perceive forgiveness as it is. I will not lay this chain upon myself. I will not lay these heavy chains upon myself. Yes, that's our practice. We're going to stretch. We're going to stretch into the warrior pose. The warrior pose is the pose we finally reach. And I go, I've made it. I've made it. And now forgiveness, the tool of forgiveness, starts to come more easily, more readily, more as not even thinking about it. We don't even, it just happens. It just suddenly slips in, and instead of that inner judge, you have that inner compassionate peacemaker, that instrument of peace, that compassionate responder. So we're going into another set of reviews. So that's going to be coming up before we see each other again. I think it's our fourth set of reviews. So that's going to be in a couple days. I think Saturday we're going to start reviewing. So, that's all I have for tonight because I've used up a lot of air. I've used up all the air that it takes to have these conversations. I'm happy to be with you. I have a song for you. This final song, I just heard it. I just heard it yesterday. And I said, oh, I want to share that with my brothers and sisters. So enjoy that, but stick around. We'll have a final few words together. Thank you.
I believe in you, maker of stars, the sun and moon, heaven and earth designed by you. Oh, I believe in you, took my weary heart, broken and bruised, every part you made brand new. Oh, even when fear tries to dim my light. Oh, I won't walk by sight, 'cause I could feel you rising on the inside. A fire burning wild and bringing me to life. My God, you're so much more than just a feeling. You are my healing, healing me. You're healing, you're healing, healing me. You're healing, you're healing.
Right here by my side. If I'm going through hell, I'll be alright. I'm standing on what you promised me. Yes, I believe that every time you see me through, I know I'm safe. You never leave. Ooh, oh,
Oh, even when fear tries to dim my light. Oh, I won't walk by sight, 'cause I feel you rising on the inside. A fire burning wild and bringing me to life. My God, you're so much more than just a feeling. You are my healing. You are my healing. Healing me. You're healing. You're 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 healing. Healing. You are my 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 healing. You come out to feel me rising on the inside. A fire burning wild and bringing me to life. My God, you're so much more than just a feeling. You are my healing. You are my healing. Healing me. You're healing. You're 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 healing.
Your love, your kindness, your consistent support during my COVID season is what healed me. So I just want to say thank you again to all of you. And we'll end with this. My mind holds only what I think with God. This is a fact, and it represents the truth of what you are and what your Father is. It is this thought by which the Creator gave creation to the sonship, establishing us as co-creators. It is this thought that fully guarantees salvation to all. My mind holds only what I think with God. And so we continue to think with God thoughts of love and kindness and peace and forgiveness. Thank you all for being here tonight. God bless you. See you next Thursday.